Hello you guys, welcome to the video. Today I am going to discuss an interesting topic of freedom. And I am going to tell you that there is more freedom in Russia than there is in the United States. You would be hugely surprised, but it is actually the truth. Furthermore, when I say Russia, I won't just even talk about Russia. I can talk even about former USSR republics. This even goes for Ukraine, same thing. You know, I don't hate Ukraine. I'm not one of those people who are like crazy in this type of thing. So I hope there is peace on earth, and that's all I want. Anyway, let me talk about freedom. So freedom, for example, if you take a sign and on that sign you put no war, and you go up to Red Square with that sign, or you go up anywhere almost public, you're gonna get arrested. If you criticize the government in Russia, you could get arrested. If you criticize the president, you also could get arrested. So a lot of people look at that and go like, well, there's no freedom in Russia. But I have to argue with that is that freedom, as everything, is comparable. When you're saying there is no freedom in Russia, compared to what? Because freedom is not an absolute measurement. So you go like, okay, there's no freedom in Russia compared to? Compared to what? Compared to America. Okay, very common argument that compared to America, Russia has no freedom. In fact, I have to disappoint you or whatever if you thought that was true. And I have to say, if you add up everything, and there is more freedom in Russia, and I will explain how. Yes, in Russia, political freedom, there's less, specifically political freedom, less of it. But there is other freedoms that are much more than in America. One freedom I will explain is, for example, freedom to build. In America and in Western countries, you are, well, I don't know, I only lived in America, so I'm thinking, there is no freedom to even add something on your house, like a room addition. If you want to add a room addition to your house, and I'm talking about, let's say if you live in freaking Alabama somewhere, like countryside, you know, not like in a big city or whatever, you still have to get permits, you have to pay. In Russia, you don't have to get a permit to add a room to your house if you live in some village. Sounds ridiculous, okay? And even, I think if you live in like a even gated community, a lot of times you don't have to get. It depends, okay? It depends, but much less so than in the United States. There's also more freedom. For example, police here is much less restrictive than in America. They cite and fine you less. When I lived in America, I didn't feel any freedom at all, especially in California. Okay, I definitely feel. For example, I'll give you another example. When I'm walking down the street here in Russia, and such as anywhere where there's pedestrians, right? In Europe, there's a lot of pedestrians. So, for example, you can't even walk down the street. I couldn't personally walk down the street in America and not feel that scared that someone will tell me, someone like will call police on me, like I'm not supposed to be there. You know, like let's say if you exit the street in America and just go walk somewhere, you can't walk. There's no freedom to even walk, because even like people walk in the street, like could be stopped by police and asked where they're going. Like in Russia, I don't feel that if I'm walking somewhere, I'm gonna get stopped by police and questioned. And it never ever happened to me, pretty much. You know, I think it happens maybe rarely, but if ever. Another type of freedom, let's say if you live in a countryside house, okay? In Russia, you don't get any fines from the city to mow your grass, to fix the fence. There's freedom. If you don't want to fix your fence, don't have to fix your fence. If you don't want to move the lawn, mow the lawn, you don't have to mow the lawn. There is so much more freedom when it comes to these real estate type of things. So for like 99% of the people, if they have a house, and sometimes even in Russia, like people build additions to houses, right? And you have like one type of house, and then you have another house like next to it that looks like two different houses, but people just build it. And you would look at that and think, oh my God, like, what kind of thing is that? Doesn't matter, but there's freedom. Another freedom that people have in Russia is to build houses out of bricks and stone or whatever. There's most houses in Russia are built out of bricks. There's all kinds of different bricks. There's like clay bricks. They're called gas type of bricks, which are like cement but kind of lighter. There's also cement. There's freedom to build your house out of whatever you want. You just go buy the materials and build it. You don't even have to get a permit for it. There's no permit to build. Also, there's a lot more freedom of speech outside of political stuff. So I will explain. For example, in America, as crazy as it sounds, there's less freedom of speech than in Russia, but when it comes to everything. So let's say if you are upset in Russia, and it happens a lot, okay? Sometimes even happens to me. When I'm upset, I tell someone off, on the phone, in person. There is a lot more, tolerance when it comes to all kinds of things, because there is, and by the way, good point that I'm going to get to, is the courts and the laws. So in Russia, so back to my point about freedom of speech, you don't have to get afraid that you're going to get arrested or you're going to get sued for saying the wrong word. The only danger that you could have here is that if you say the wrong political word. But even then, for example, if you take up a sign, I feel that the punishment is not that much. I mean, you might get like an administrative fine. It's not like you're going to go in jail for a year just for the sign. It's gradual, So also, let me get to freedom about courts and legal stuff. I think that America is the worst when it comes to police, courts, laws, and all the dangers that come to it. And the statistics support it. America has the largest number of lawyers, and it has the largest number of people in prison per capita and in jail. So in America, I was constantly afraid, especially in California, that I was going to get arrested or I was going to get sued for something. You're afraid, for example, that if someone comes to repair your house in America and they, God forbid, slip or hurt themselves, they could take you to court, they could send you medical bills. In Russia, you don't have to worry about that. Somebody comes over to fix your house, they fall on their ass, it's their fault. That's it, it's over. There is no medical bills. There is no lawyers. There is no lawsuits. If somebody comes to Russian court and they're going to say, oh, I was repairing somebody's house and I fell and I hurt myself, they will be like, so? Your fault, idiot. Take better care of yourself next time and make sure not to fall. And while that approach also could be problematic sometimes, it's better than the whole approach that America has. So, in summary, America has less freedom than Russia.